could hear because of my new camera, but I was called for my dinner. As quickly as I could, I took a good bit of gulp from my Pepsi Max because it was taco men's on burgers, basically like sloppy joes with jalapenos and melted cheese. So let's get back to it. Let's see, where did I leave us off? Spell storing items. So basically what it does is you take one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spell cast and focus, and you can then store a spell in it of first or second level from your Artificer spell list that requires one action to cast, and here's the best part, folks, you don't need to have it prepared, so you can store spells. Now you can, it's only one object, and you have to do this as part of a long rest. So, and then while you're holding the object, a creature can take the action to produce the spell's effect from it. Pardon me, using your spell casting ability modifier. If the spell requires concentration, the creature must concentrate, and the spell stays in the object until it's been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier, minimum of twice, or until you use this feature again to store a spell in an object. So there you go, folks. So you have like potentially a first or second level spell stored in an object. You can hand that out to the party, or you yourself can keep hold of it, and you can then produce it. At level 14, you have your Magic Item Savant, which allows you to tune up to 5 magical items, and you ignore all class, race, spell, and level requirements for attuning to or using a magical item. So therefore, once you get to magical level 14, you can attune to pretty much any magical item. And then at level 18, you get Magic Item Master. You can now attune up to 6 magical items at once. And then that's it. Then at level 20, you have developed a mystical connection to your items, and you can now draw on them for protection. So here's the cool part, folks. You get a +1 bonus to all saving throws per magical item you are currently attuned to. And if you were to be reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use your reaction to end one of your Artificer infusions, causing you to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. Now here's the caveat though, folks, for that. There was no limit. So if you're only attuned to, say, if you have six infusions out there, actually hold on, yeah, maximum 6. If you have 6 infusions out there, you can keep yourself alive 6 times, and that will be greatly useful for, say, having your bard or whoever is able to do your healing in your party that will give you time to get to you, to be ready to heal you or revivify you if the need arises, or at least even stabilize you. So there you go, folks. Now, as I said, unfortunately, is there any picture of just infusing items? No, that's the subclass. Okay, folks, we're now going to get into the infusions. So it's sort of handy that I had to make a 2-part video for this. So, Artificer infusions are an extraordinary process that rapidly turn a magical object into a magical item. There's some descriptions. Some of them have an item requirement, and some items may have a level requirement, and some of them might require attunement, some of them might not require attunement. So here we go, folks. We have a bit of a list to get through, but we will get to that now. They're in alphabetical order, so keep in mind I might be saying so they're not level ordered, so keep that in mind. Arcane Propulsion Armor. It requires you to be a level 14 Artificer, and it can only be applied to a suit of armor, and it requires attunement. The wearer of the armor, because keep in mind, folks, you don't necessarily have to wear the armor. Wield these items yourself. The wearer's walking speed increases by 5 feet. The armor includes gauntlets, each of which is a magic melee weapon and can be wielded only when the hand is holding nothing. The wearer is proficient with the gauntlets, and each one deals 1d8 force damage on hit, and has the thrown property with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. When thrown, the gauntlet detaches and flies at the target, and then immediately returns to the wearer, and reattaches. The armor cannot be removed against the wearer's will. If the wearer is missing any limbs, the armor replaces those limbs, hands, arms, feet, or legs, or similar appendages. The replacement functions identical to the party parts they replace. So here's the catch though, folks. It says a suit of armor. So that pretty much narrows it down to just plate armor. From the description, like, you will have to go to the player's handbook to see the description of armor types, and the only one that would cover the entire body is plate armor, to my knowledge, but I'm pretty sure I am correct in that statement. Next is armor of magical strength. The only requirements is that it's once again a suit of armor, and it requires attunement. The armor has 6 charges, and the wearer can expend the charges in the following ways. When the wearer makes a strength check or strength saving throw, it can spend 1 charge to add a bonus equal to its intelligence modifier. If the creature would be knocked prone, it can use its reaction to expend 1 charge to avoid being knocked prone. And then it regains 1d6 expended charges at dawn. Here we go. Boots of Winding Path. You need to be a level 6 Artificer to create these items, and you obviously need a pair of boots, and they require attunement. While wearing these boots, a creature can teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action to an unoccupied space the creature can see. The creature must have occupied that space at some point during the current turn. So I can see how that can be very powerful for a rogue. You run in, bam, yeah. Instead of using your bonus action to disengage, you can just bam, hit, and then poof, teleport all the way back away, and then use your movement. So that can be pretty powerful. But as long as, again though, you have to be in that space at some point during your turn, and you still have to see, so you can't go around the corner, hit someone, and then teleport back. So I can still see its usefulness. Enhanced arcane focus. This can be a staff, rod, or wand. When holding this item, they get +1 to spell attack rolls. In addition, the creature ignores hat cover. Okay, it's Wand of War Mage. That's what it is, folks. It's Wand of War Mage, and the bonus increases to +2 when you reach level 10 in this class. Enhanced defense requires once again a suit of armor, a suit of armor or a shield. The creature gets a +1 to the AC or will in the shield of the infused item. The bonus increases to a +2. You make a +1 or a +2 armor. Enhanced weapon, pretty much the same as the enhanced defense, except it's a simpler martial weapon. Helm of Awareness requires you to be level 10 Artificer to make. Requires obviously a helmet. Requires attunement. And while wearing this helmet, a creature has advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, the wearer can't be surprised, provided it is not incapacitated. That is pretty cool. Here's a cool one that does not require attunement. Homunculus Solvent. You need a gem or a crystal worth at least 100 gold pieces. You learn the intricate methods of magically creating a special homunculus that serves you. The item you infuse serves as a creature's heart, around which the creature's body instantly forms. Oh my god, sorry folks, I know it sounds stupid, but I'm getting such FMA vibes from that. You determine the homunculus appearance. Some Artificers prefer mechanical looking birds, whereas some winged vials or miniature animate cauldrons. The homunculus is friendly to you and your companions. It obeys your commands. See this creature statistics in the stat block below, which uses your proficiency bonus in several places. In combat, it serves on acts on your initiative, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is dodge, unless you use a bonus action on your turn to make it do another action. That action can be one on its stat block or some other action. If you're incapacitated, it can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. The homunculus regains 2d6 hit points if the mending spell is cast on it. If you or your homunculus dies, it vanishes, leaving its heart in its place. And then they actually give you several pictures. Let's bring up the pictures real quick. We're just going to jump down to the infusions. And here we go. So here's the examples that we get. Now, judging by... It does have an attack, folks. Let's see here. Ranged weapon attack. Your spell attack modifier to hit, range 30 feet. One target you can see. 1d4 plus proficiency bonus, force damage. So it's actually pretty decent. The only problem is it's a ranged weapon attack. So therefore, like, it would not deal magical damage. It has dark vision, pretty cool. Passive perception is 10 plus proficiency bonus times 2, so that's pretty good. It's immune to being poisoned, exhaustion. Its stealth is 2 plus proficiency bonus, perception is plus 0 plus proficiency bonus times 2. Saving throws, its dex plus 2 plus proficiency bonus. It has natural armor of 13. Hit points is 1 plus your intelligence modifier plus your artificer level. The homunculus has a number of hit dice, d4s equal to your artificer level, so that's for, you know, doing short rests. Here's the fun thing though. You can, as a reaction, you can channel magic. Sorry, it can channel magic. The homunculus delivers a spell you cast that has a range of touch. The homunculus must be within 120 feet of you, so you can deliver it. Now, there's some things I want to comment on this. I like some of these nifty little things, like look at the owl. If you look closely, it has like potions in its chest, which acts as a cabinet. So the intent is not so much for this to be a combat thing. It's purely meant to be like your actual stuff. And my favorite, though, I have to say, is the brewer one. Except because I do love me a cup of tea. But I imagine that's more of a coffee situation. And I love the smile on the smile on its face, like it just seems so happy to be serving tea or coffee. Alright, now we're going to Mind Sharpener. This requires a suit of armor or robes. The infused item can send a jolt to the wearers to refocus their mind. It has 4 charges. When the wearer fails a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration, the wearer can use its reaction to expend one of its item's charges to instead succeed. So it's an auto success item. That's pretty cool. I can actually see a lot. I can see how that'll be very useful. Okay. Next we have Radiant Weapon, which requires you to be level 6. You need to have a simple or martial weapon, and it pretty much turns the weapon into a +1 weapon that can take a bonus action to shed bright light out of 30 feet of it, and then dim light an additional 30 feet, so 60 feet of light in total, bright and dim light. They can extinguish the light as a bonus action, obviously, and has 4 charges. And immediately after, as a reaction, immediately after being hit by an attack, the wielder can expend 1 charge that cause the attacker to be blinded until the end of the attacker's next turn, unless the attacker succeeds on a Constitution saving throw, and the saving throw against your spell save DC, and the weapon regains 1d4 charges at dawn. So that's a pretty cool weapon. Like, I thought it was going to be like, you know, a d6 or a d4 radiant damage, but no, it's radiant and just light. So you get hit, you hold up the weapon, bam, flashbang. So now you're going to be blinded for next turn. So that's pretty cool. Next we have a simple or repeating shot For a simple or martial weapon with the ammunition property, requires attunement. It becomes a +1 weapon, and let's see, and when it's used to make a ranged attack, and it ignores the loading property. If you load no ammunition to this weapon, it produces its own, automatically creating one piece of magic ammunition when you make the ranged attack with it. The ammunition created by the weapon vanishes the instant it hits or misses a target. So that's pretty cool. So load that into a crossbow for like a ranger or a fire, and they just go dun 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 like it's. Oh, I'm actually a real fan of that one. And then you have a simple replicate magic item. We're actually near the end, folks. So to replicate a magic item, you need to be a bare minimum. You need to be a 2nd level artificer. And you can then replicate the following objects: alchemy jug, bag of holding. Actually, you know what? Just to simplify things, I might actually just allow you guys to see the list yourselves. I'll wait like 1 or 2 seconds per one. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're now scrolling down to 6th level. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 10th level. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the additional one for level 10. Winged boots. We're now going down to level 14. Bum 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 bum. Okay. We're just going to keep that image up. I'm sorry, folks. Again, as I said, I can't. I don't want to take the risk of showing everything and then have people like, because like I don't want to be smacked with a copyright, thing about like, oh yeah, you're showing too much in your video or whatever. I'm sorry, folks. Repulsion shield. Prerequisite 6th level artificer, and it requires a shield and it requires attunement. You basically get a +1 shield. It has 4 charges, and when you get hit, you can then spend 1 charge under your reaction to push the target 15 feet away, and it regains 1d4 charges at dawn. Resistant armor. A suit of armor that requires attunement. And you get resistance to one of the you get resistance of damage type. That's returning weapon. A simple or martial weapon with the Tron property becomes a +1 weapon and returns immediately after the range attack. Useful for daggers, boomerangs, darts. And then you get refueling ring. 6th level artificer requires a ring. Requires attunement, and while we're in this ring, the creature can recover 1 expended spell slot as an action. The recover slot can be of 3rd level or lower. Once used, the ring cannot be used again until the next dawn. And there we have it, folks. That is all the artificers stuff. So I'm afraid for now this is where I stop recording, folks. The rest of the subclasses are going to be meant for people who watch the stream live and who will then go on to watch it a week later on YouTube. I'm sorry it has to be this way, but like again, I have to, by spreading out these things into these sort of videos, spreading out the stuff in this type of way hopefully limits my risk of getting a copyright infringement or breaking any kind of laws. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you click the bell notification so that way you will stay notified when I upload a video onto YouTube. If you follow me on Twitch, you'll stay up to date on whenever I have to whenever I go live. Let's see, what else is there? I believe that is it, folks. And if you want to hear more about the subclasses, please wait 1 week. Please make sure you click the bell icon so that way in a week's time you'll get the rest of the Artificer content. In the meantime, this is Will from Ninja. Sign out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative. Okay, streamers and YouTubers who waited a week for this content. It's time to now move on to the other subclasses. And therefore, I better just use the directional buttons. We are immediately starting with the Armorer subclass. And right there, immediately we have the Infiltrator and the Guardian. Now, these have seen quite... No, folks, I'm sorry, we're not going into the Armorer, actually. I do apologize, we're actually going straight into the Alchemist. So for that we will go one previous image back, which does show, I believe, an Alchemist, even though it was for the infusion situation. So here's what Tash has to say about the Alchemist. The magic of both alchemists and witches relies on a powerful multiversal truth. Mortals can't resist anything with bubbles. Alright. An alchemist is an expert at combining reagents to produce mystical effects. Alchemists use their creations to give life to and to leech it away. Alchemy is the oldest of Artificer traditions, and its versatility has long been valued during times of war and peace. At level 3, when you gain this specialty, you gain proficiency in alchemist supplies, and if you already have proficiency with the alchemist supplies, you gain one other type of artisan tools of your choice. You have exclusive spells for your alchemist archetype, and now these spells are always prepared, and they do not count against the number of artificer spells you can prepare. At level 3, you get Healing Word and Ray of Sickness. 5th level, Flaming Sphere and Melf's Acid Arrow. 9th level, Gaseous Form, Mass Healing Word. 13th level, Blight and Death Ward. 17th level, Cloud Kill and Raise Dead. Now keep in mind, folks, you are as I said in the earlier sections of this class, you're encouraged to describe your spells in the way that you envision your artificer using their speciality to to do this. So when alchemists, think of like how would an alchemist use a potion or a salve to replicate these effects. Now, another feature you get is experimental elixir. This is when you spend a long rest. At the end of a long rest, you can magically produce an experimental elixir into an empty flask you touch. Roll on the experimental elixir table for the effect, which is triggered when someone drinks the elixir. As an action, a creature can drink the elixir or administer it to an incapacitated creature. You can create an additional experimental elixirs by expending a spell slot of 1st level or higher for each one. When you do so, you use your action to create the elixir in an empty flask you touch, and you choose the elixir's effect from the experimental table. Creating an experimental elixir requires you to have alchemist supplies on your person, and any elixir you create with this feature lasts until it is drunk or until the end of your next long rest. When you reach certain levels in this class, you can make more elixirs at the end of your long rest. 2 at level 6, 3 at 15, and you roll for each of the elixir's effects. And each one requires its own flask. However, this is one of the things I do like, is that you can spend a spell slot to create one additional one, and you actually get to specifically choose which one you want. That's a really cool feature. Now, the effects are as follows. Healing. You basically create 2d4 plus your intelligence modifier healing potion. Swiftness, they get an increased movement speed of 10 feet but for 1 hour. Resilience, they get +1 to their AC bonus for 10 minutes. Bonus, the drinker can roll a d4 and add a number to roll to every attack and saving throw they make for the next minute. Flight, the person gains a flight speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes. And transformation, they get alter self. They are under the effect of alter self for 10 minutes, and it's the drinker that determines what changes in their appearance. Then at level 5 they get Alchemical Savant. You develop masterful command of magical chemicals and enhancing the healing and damage created you through them. Whenever you cast a spell using your alchemist supplies as a spellcasting focus, you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell. That roll must restore hit points or be damage roll that deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison, and the bonus equals your intelligence modifier. Restorative reagents. This is your 9th level feature. You can incorporate the restorative reagents into some of your works. Whenever a creature drinks your experimental elixir you create, the creature gains temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. You can cast Lesser Restoration without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell, provided you use alchemist supplies as your spellcasting focus. You can do this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Chemical Mastery. You gain resistance to, because of your time with all the chemicals that you use for your spells and your experimental elixirs and such. You gained resistance to acid damage and poison damage. You are also immune to being poisoned, which is a condition. And you can then cast Greater Restoration and heal without expending a spell slot or without preparing the spell. And without the material components, provided you use your alchemical supplies to basically make up a concoction that does the effect. And you can only do this once. And then once you do so, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest, folks. And here we have it. That's the end of the Alchemist. We are now officially onto the Armorer, which is basically your Tony Stark build. Let's face it, this is your Iron Man class right here. And I really want to play it, even though they did make a significant change. And one of those changes was a friend of mine liked to have his infiltrator armor on underneath his clothes and hide it. They have now changed that. It used to actually be part of the description that you could fit your infiltrator mode armor under your clothes. They have now changed that. They've removed that line. So here we go. Sorry, I just really like it. An artificer who specializes as an armorer modifies armor to function almost like a second skin. Hold on, folks, actually, I should have done this sooner, but I should really check to make sure you guys can hear me. So, hold on a sec. Okay, yeah, you just can't hear me. So, yeah. Like a second skin, the armor is enhanced to hone the Artificer's magic, unleash potent attacks, and generate a formidable defense. The Artificer bonds with this armor, becoming one with it, even as they experiment with it and refine its magical capabilities. Tools of the trade. You gain proficiency in heavy armor. You can also gain proficiency with smith's tools. If you already have proficiency with smith's tools, you gain proficiency in another set of tools. And your armorer spells, for this, now again, these are similar to your alchemist ones. They are always prepared, and you don't have to worry about them counting towards your prepared spells. Okay, this is pretty cool. 3rd level, you get Magic Missile and Thunder Wave. At 5th level, you get Mirror Image and Shatter. 9th level, you get Hypnotic Pattern and Lightning Bolt. 13th level, you get Fire Shield and Greater Invisibility. 17th level, Pass Wall and Wall of Force. So essentially, these are all like combat or infiltration spells, from what I can see. Like, you can use Hypnotic Pattern, Mirror Image, Hypnotic Pattern, Greater Invisibility, and Pass Wall as extensions of your infiltrator mode for your suit. But then you have, your Magic Missile, your Thunder Wave, your Shatter, your Lightning Bolt, your Fire Shield, and your Wall of Force as your tank build. I am loving this. Anyway, let's get to the nit and gritty of it. The Arcane Armor. Now this is it. Your metallurgical, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, pursuits have led you to making an armor of conduit of your magic. As an action, you can turn a suit of armor you are wearing into arcane armor, provided you have the smith's tools on hand. Now, me personally, I would like to ask my DM, could I flavor it that like this is something that I've been working on for considerable time, and I'm going to go very Iron Man with it. So like I'm going to be asking like, hey, can I spend like every time we do a long rest, is it okay if I spend a bit of that as in like, you know, crafting and working on this? You gain the following benefits when you're wearing this armor. If the armor would normally have a strength requirement, the arcane armor lacks this requirement for you. Now keep in mind, folks, this is exclusive for you. That is another thing I believe is a situation for this class, is this is you wearing the armor, it's not someone else wearing it. You can use your arcane armor as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. The armor attaches to you and can be removed against your will. It also expands to cover your entire body. Although you can retract and deploy the helmet as a bonus action, the armor replaces any missing limbs functioning identical to a limb it replaces. You can doff and don this armor as an action. The armor continues to be an arcane armor until you don another suit of armor or until you die. So there you go, folks. Best example I can describe this would be in Iron Man 2 with the suitcase. You know, his weaker Iron Man suit, where he has the suitcase and it then, you know, just stands and covers his entire body. Or similar to Peter's Iron Spider suit, where, you know, it's a backpack but then it, you know, eventually covers his entire body. Or the Nano suit from Avengers Infinity War. Oh god, my nose is just all itchy all of a sudden. Oh. So that's how you could picture this armor. Like, you know, obviously we have a drow and we have a drow infiltrator, because the infiltrator are the ones that get these like lightning bolt attacks, and the guardian gets the thunder punches. So these are the armor models. You get to you can change them during a long rest, I believe. Yeah, whenever you finish a short or long rest, sorry, as long as you have your smith's tools in hand, you can change it. Each model includes a special weapon. When you attack with the weapon, you can add your intelligence modifier instead of your strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls. Now the Guardian. Now this is all about being the front line of the combat. You get Thunder Gauntlets, which is being shown in the picture. Whenever you hit when you punch someone with these gauntlets, you deal 1d8 thunder damage on hit. The creature hit by these gauntlets has disadvantage on the attack rolls against any target other than you until the start of their next turn. As the armor, the start of your next turn, not theirs. As the armor magically emits a distracting pulse when a creature attacks someone else. You have a defensive field, which allows you as a bonus action to gain temporary hit points equal to your level in this class. Usual things. You lose the temporary hit points if you doff the armor. You can use a bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now that was one of the other changes, folks, from the UA. In the UA, that you could infinitely give yourself these temporary hit points. Now you can only do so a number of times a day, which is great. Next we have the Infiltrator. Now this is obviously for more ranged and stealth playstyle. You have the Lightning Launcher, which is a gem-like node that appears on one of your armored fists or on the chest, your choice. It counts as a simple ranged weapon and a normal range of 90 feet and a long range of 300 feet. It deals 1d6 lightning damage on hit once on each of your turns. If you hit a creature with it, you can deal an extra 1d6 lightning damage to that target. So bam, and then supercharge, bam. You also get powered steps, which gives you an increased walk speed of 5 feet, and you also get dampening fields, which normally that gives you advantage on dexterity stealth checks If the armor normally imposes disadvantage on such checks, the advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out as normal. So essentially, if you have plate armor, you instead get straight rolls rather than getting the disadvantage. It does not cancel out. You do not unlock, like if you have, like if you chose studded leather armor, for example, for the infiltrator armor, you would instead get you would get advantage on all your stealth checks. But if your armor would normally give you disadvantage on a thing, it just simply gets cancelled out and you get normal rolls. So still very useful. Next, level 5. For this archetype, you get extra attack, which is useful which is why they stayed with the infiltrator. If you would normally get a lightning attack, you can choose on one of your attacks. You can amplify the attack for more damage. I would ask my DM, can I describe it as being on the chest a thing, so I could go repulsor and then charge one is the unibeam. I'm sorry, folks. I'm really sorry, but I just love this subclass. I love games that Iron Man is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I love games that allow you to get a sense of that, like such as Anthem. And I'm actually looking forward to playing Anthem again when they do their whole revamp. They're doing a complete revamp of the game. I'm not sure if it's going to be a re-release or if it's just going to be a huge update. I don't know. Either way, I'm looking forward to when BioWare does release that. Anyway, armor modifications. You learn to use your Artificer infusions to specially modify your arcane armor. The armor counts as separate items for the purposes of your infused items, such as the chest piece, the boots, the helmet, and the armor's special weapon. Each of those items can bear one of your infusions, and the infusions transfer over if you change your armor's model with the armor model feature. In addition, the maximum number of items you can infuse at once increases by 2. And those extra items must be part of the arcane armor. So there you go, folks. You even get more infusions as long as it's like 2 of them are on your armor. That's pretty cool. At level 15, we get perfect armor. Now, your perfected armor. Your armor gets better. This is actually the last features for the armorer. The Guardian. When a huge or small creature you see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, a huge or smaller creature ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to magically force that creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, pulling the creature up to 30 feet towards you in an occupied space. If you pull the target to space within 5 feet of you, you can make a melee weapon attack against as part of this reaction. You can use this reaction number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish last. That's great. That puts the guard, like again, the Guardian is meant to be protecting the rest of the party, so you can be pulling enemies in, and you can specify all your infusions. You might not have a lot of health, but by this point you have a lot of you're probably decked out in such enhanced armor as a Guardian, So you could just be keeping all the enemies focused on you. You're an AC tank rather than a health tank. Now, the Infiltrator. Any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher glimmers with magical light until the start of your next turn. The glimmering creature sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius and has disadvantage on all attack rolls against you. And as the light jolts, if it attacks you. In addition, the next attack roll has advantage on it. If that attack hits, the target takes 1d6 extra lightning damage. Now, see, here's the fun thing. You can go, boom, emit that thing, and then use your other thing, boom. Once again, same effect, but like your second attack gets the benefit from the first attack. And here's the thing. You will not have taken up that advantage on the attack because you reapplied it with your second attack, which then one of your party members could then benefit from. So pretty cool. Alright, now we have the Artillerist, which immediately shows a character with a gun as well. I believe that's a gun. It looks like a gun, as well as a cannon. Which I have to say, I really like to look at the cannon. Okay, we have two more archetypes, folks. We have the artillerist and the battlesmith. An artillerist specializes in using magic to hurl energy projectiles and explosions on the battlefield. This destructive power is valued by armies in wars on many different worlds. And when war passes, some members of this specialization seek to build a more peaceful world by using their powers to fight the resurgence of strife. A world-hopping gnome, Artificer V, has been especially vocal about making things right. It's about time we fix things instead of blowing them all to hell. Unfortunately, I believe she's a so that makes me think she's an artillerist. I'm not sure. Hold on, let's see what the picture said again about her. Because the thing is, I feel like she's more of the one that gets the robot pet. Oh, her cockatrice is an eldritch cannon. Okay. Interesting. It's okay. It's a little weird given that the battlesmith is supposed to have a walking, talking automaton. I'll have to read. We'll have to read about the artillerist in order to fully get an understanding of it. You get proficiency in Woodcarver's tools. If you already have it, you get it in a different tool of your choice. You always have certain spells prepared. Blah 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 blah. For this class, you get Shield at 3rd level as well as Thunderwave. 5th, you get Scorching Ray and Shatter. 9th level, you get Fireball and Wind Wall. 13th level, you get Ice Storm and Wall of Fire. 17th level, you get Cone of Cold and Wall of Force. Oh, here we go. Now at level 3, you get your Eldritch Cannon. You learned how to create a magical cannon using Woodcarver's tools or Smith's tools. You can take an action to create a small or tiny Eldritch cannon in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. A small Eldritch cannon occupies its space, and a tiny one, small strike, and a tiny one can be held in one hand. Once you create a cannon, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or until you spend a spell slot to create one. You can only have one cannon at a time and can create one while your cannon is present. The cannon is a magical object, regardless of its size. The cannon has an AC of 18, a number of hit points equal to 5 times your... Oh! Okay, now I get it. Because she's a gnome, that's why the cockatrice one looks so big in the picture, folks. Where's it? Hold on. So, because she's a gnome, that is probably a small. That's probably a size small, but because she's a gnome, which is a small category creature, and because that forced perspective, folks. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there we go. Now I get it. Okay. Has an AC of 18, number of hit points equal to 5 times your Artificer level. Is immune to poison damage and psychic damage. It's forced to make an ability check or a saving throw. Treat all of its ability scores as temp. If the mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points. It disappears if it's reduced to 0 hit points, or after 1 hour. You can dismiss it early as an action. Wait, what? Oh, okay. So as an action, you summon it. It lasts 1 hour, and then okay. When you create the cannon, you determine its appearance and whether it has legs. You also decide which type it is, choosing options on the Eldritch Cannons table. On each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to cause the cannon to activate if you're within 60 feet of it. As part of the same bonus action, you can direct the cannon to walk or climb up to 15 feet in an unoccupied space, provided it has legs. So you can either have one that is being carried as in like this image, or you can have it be more automaton similar to V's one. Okay, we have the flamethrower, the force ballista, and the protector. The flamethrower is a 15-foot cone. Sorry, folks. Is a 15-foot cone that you designate. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw or against your spell save DC or take 2d8 fire damage or half as much as a successful one. The fire ignites any flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Force ballista is it's basically make a ranged spell attack. It has a range of 120 feet. On a hit, the target takes 2d8 force damage, and if that target is a creature, it is pushed back 5 feet away from the cannon. And then you have the protector, which emits a burst of positive energy that grants itself and each creature within you, of your choice within 10 feet of it, a number of temporary hit points plus your intelligence modifier. I can imagine the Smith having some sort of like device on his backpack that comes up and sets off that pulse. At level 5, you get Arcane Firearm. You know how to turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm. A conduit for your destructive spells, which is why we see a pistol, which it could most likely would have been a wand, into destructive spells. When you finish a long rest, you can use your woodcarver's tools to carve special sigils into the wand, staff, or rod, thereby turn it into your arcane firearm. The sigil disappears from the object if you later carve them onto a different item. The sigils otherwise last indefinitely. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells. When you cast your Artificer spells through the firearm, roll on a d8 and you gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. That's pretty cool. Explosive Cannon. At level 9, each of your Eldritch Cannons, no matter which one you create, is now more destructive. The cannon's damage rolls all increase by 1d8. As an action, you can command the cannon to detonate if you're within 60 feet of it. Doing so destroys the cannon and forces each creature within 20 feet of it to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 3d8 force damage on a fail save and half as much on a successful one. At level 15, you get Fortified Position. You're a master of forming a well-defended implement using your Eldritch Cannon. You and your allies have half cover wall within 10 feet of your Eldritch Cannon. You create an Eldritch Cannon as a result of a shimmering field of magical protection that can emit. So, oh my god, it's like literally a Star Wars turret to have little shields going along the sides of it, so you can behind it firing. That's how I picture it. You can now have two cannons at the same time. You create two with the same action, but not the same spell slot. And you can activate both of them with the same bonus action, and you determine whether the cannons are identical to each other or different. You can't create a third cannon while you have two. So there we have it, folks. That is the Artillerist, which again I found a little disappointing in the UA. I gotta say, it's entertaining and I wouldn't mind playing one. And now it's time for us to move on to the Battlesmith. Armies require protection, and someone has to put things back together if defenses fall. The combination of protector and medic, a battlesmith is an expert at defending others while repairing both material and personnel. To aid in their work, battlesmiths are accompanied by a steel defender, a protective companion of their own creation. Many soldiers tell stories of nearly dying before being saved by a battlesmith and their steel defender. In the world of Eberron, battlesmiths played a key role in how Cannots work on the battle constructs and the original Warforge, and after the last war, these artificers led efforts to aid those who were injured in the war's horrific battles. You get proficiency in Smith's tools. If you already have it, you get a different one. And your spells as a battlesmith are at level 3, Heroism, Shield. Level 5, Branding Smite, Warding Bond. Level 9, Aura of Vitality, Conjure Barrage. Level 13, Aura of Purity and Fire Shield. 17th level, Banishing Smite and Mask Cure Wounds, reflecting on that defense and healing. At level 3, you get the Battle Ready feature. You gain proficiency in martial weapons, and when you attack with a magic weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the to hit and damage rolls. You also get your Steel Defender. Simplest way I can describe it is it's similar to the Ranger Companion, except you can use Mending to heal a 2d6, and it's a robot. It has its own stat block regardless of what form it takes. However, it is vigilant, which means the defender cannot be surprised. It obviously does not need to oh, they got rid of it. Okay. It used to say it did not need to eat, drink, or sleep, but I guess they got rid of that. It understands all languages that you speak. It is a medium construct. It has immunities to being charmed, exhausted, or poisoned. Damage immunity, poisoned. It has deflect attack as a reaction. The defender imposes disadvantage on the attack roll of one creature it can see within 5 feet of it, provided attack roll against a creature other than the defender. It has a 3 per day repair ability, which will be 2d8 plus proficiency bonus to one construct or object within 5 feet of it, which would include itself. And it has Force Empowered Rend, which is an attack which will deal 1d8 plus proficiency force damage. So it is a bit. Its AC is 15. Its hit points is 2 plus intelligence plus 5 times your Artificer level. So keep that in mind. So it's a bit beefier than your average companion. At level 5, you get extra attack. Now I assume this follows the same Ranger rules as in like hold on. To dodge, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command to take another action. That action can be one of the stop block or some other action if you're incapacitated. Okay, see now that frustrates me. Rangers have to sacrifice an attack for their animal companions to attack. However, the Artificer just needs to expend a bonus action by the looks of it. Yeah. To me, that's incredibly frustrating for the Rangers. Like, Rangers not even my favorite class, but it's still incredibly frustrating at how little that, like. And here's the thing: Wizards of the Coast have admitted that they've that the Ranger, like the Beast Companion Ranger, is so heavily undervalued, and it's underpowered compared to everything else. And yet then they pull stuff like this, and we didn't get the improvements from the UA. I will get to that later though, however. Anyway, you get at level 9 you get Arcane Jolt. You learn ways to channel your arcane energy to harm or heal, or when either you hit a target with your magical weapon or your Steel Defender hits a target, you can channel magical energy to make the strike to create one of the following effects. The target takes 2d6 for extra force damage. Choose one creature or object you can see within 30 feet of the target. Healing energy flows into the chosen recipient, restoring 2d6 hit points. And you can do this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, but you can do so no more than once per turn. That's the thing, it's once per turn, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Then at level 15, folks, your Arcane Jolt and Steel Defender have become more powerful. The extra damage your healing of your Arcane Jolt both increase to 4d6. So that was just the previous ability for healing and damage dealing. That they have gone up. Your Steel Defender gains a +2 bonus to their AC, going from 15 to 17. And whenever your Steel Defender uses its deflect attack, the attack takes force damage equal to 1d4 plus your intelligence modifier. So when it makes the deflect attack, to give the creature disadvantage on the attack roll, they now take damage for doing that. So, and that is it, folks. Now, obviously, each of these subclasses can hugely benefit from the amount, depending on your infusions that you take with your subclass. Like the armor, for example, like that can heavily benefit from your infusions. So could the battlesmith, and so could, like, again, all of them can benefit. And it's like the Artificer got a really big bump, in my opinion, as opposed to Eberron. I don't know if, like, I heard that there were some changes. I don't remember reading about it in Eberron. The armor got some changes. For example, like I said, the infiltrator armor used to be able to be worn underneath your regular clothes. They got rid of that because of how powerful it could be in terms of a social interaction. But it's only an action to doff and don the armor. So, like, you could go in, like, you can do it. You can pull 20 stocks. You go in with plain normal clothes. They don't take your items from you. And then in comes the fight. You're just like, you take out an orb, or you take out, like, you just press something on your bag, and then all of a sudden you have your battle armor ready. You know, and it doesn't even have to be the infiltrator anymore. It could be the guardian. So, like, if you're like, you go to tank build and be like, oh, okay, so we're getting to the fight, guys. Okay, boom, ting extends, and now you're ready to tank and take on a bunch of enemies. Or you might be ready to sneak off away from the party, donning the infiltrator. But here's the thing: you could still go infiltrator with plate armor. So there you go, folks. You could be the stealthy plate armored person going around, sneaking around, and because you have a helmet, you technically can hide your face. Then you have the dampening, so you have normal rolls instead of having disadvantage on stealth checks. You know, and you can have the spell Greater Invisibility also then cast upon you. So, like, that's like, so all of that is amazing. I definitely want to make an Artificer. I cannot say that enough. I really want to make an Artificer. I'll probably make a dummy Artificer on DDB to wait for when the next time I have a free cap, like I'm in a game and I'm able to play. I definitely want to play an armor. That is the first Artificer I would play, would be an armor. Gotta say it. It is my favorite of all of them, so that's the one I would go with. In the meantime, folks, this is Wilf Ninja. Again, please follow if you enjoyed this video, and you'll be notified whenever I go live on Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit a like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and make sure you click the bell notification so that you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. In the meantime, this is Wilf Ninja signing out. May the Force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative.